talk to alcohol content. We are confused as to if it's the Bon Marché or the Bon Macy's.
I'm old school.
He's old school. I'm new school. What's going on? But anyways, we're mixing worlds here. We're drinking some whiskey, and before we get into all this, fancy stuff, we have a request. Okay, we had a fan. We had a fan. All right, wink. We had a fan comment on one of our episodes and was like, "I want you to do a Springbank review." Do you know what exactly what the verbiage was?
That it would be cool to see a Springbank.
Exactly.
review.
That is the exact quote. Well, guess
That's
what?
the amount of energy we want.
Yeah, it was super cool to put a comment, and so we're gonna do this cool thing to do Springbank because they've been sitting up here, right in the middle. You can see there's empty space. Well,
Highlighted.
exactly. Anthony, what's his Raining Whiskey at Raining Whiskey?
That Raining Whiskey
is his YouTube handle. Well, we appreciate the comment. We appreciate the subscription, which you all should do. He's been liking the podcast. He's been subscribing to the podcast. Okay, so I know I said the name. I ruined the intro. But who we drinking with? We got Ryan.
Springbank boy.
Oh, these are technically his Springbanks,
Mhm.
and I hate him for it because he throws it in my face all the time. Yeah, literally. that's what he spent the money on.
Yeah.
He throws it in my face.
Yeah.
We got Rick.
Yeah.
I think, the little birdie told me the actual purchaser of the Springbank is
Yeah.
Rick.
They were gifts.
They were
Yeah.
gifts.
Yeah.
And still, our dusty compatriot here, our dusty basement boy, we got Alex.
Officially billed as Springbank Boy number 2.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And he also is a
Slash
brewer.
key grip.
Which
Yeah,
we
slash-
didn't make a big
yeah.
deal about with the other episodes, but he is a brewmaster of beer.
Well,
He drinks a lot of beer, and I think that just gives you the title of brewmaster. He has nothing to do with making beer. He just drinks so much beer. Did you lose the pencil?
it's gone.
Yeah. Well, he's actually a brewer. We love him.
And
because he
I
brews
want to be
beer.
clear, not a brewer in his garage like I've tried to do. and
Oh,
messed
no,
up.
no.
We're talking about for
His
for
career.
breweries.
Yeah.
Yes, for his career.
I do it for
So,
money.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do it
Not for
money.
fun, but for money.
Not for
There's-
fun.
There's no fun involved. It's all for money and the free beer.
Yes. So thanks for, again, being on the pod. He loves it. He's just like, can I please?
3 weeks in a row.
Exactly,
That's
3 weeks in a
amazing.
row.
Long time watcher, first time caller.
First time caller.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm Austin. And all right, I said it. The cat's out of the bag, boys. We got
Springbank.
Springbank.
Yep.
What's going on here?
So it's an independent distillery in Campbelltown, Scotland. So Campbelltown's a peninsula, almost island-like, because it's tethered to the mainland by a very narrow little isthmus or whatever. And it's
So the major regions of Scotland,
Yeah.
Speyside, Highland, Lowland, Isla/Islands,
Mm.
and then little old Campbelltown.
Yeah. Campbelltown.
Campbelltown gets no recognition,
Oh,
but
Well,
they deserve it.
yeah, and like I said, Springbank. So here's the deal with Springbank. These are hard, depending on where you are, but they're fairly hard to get because they're an independent distillery. They don't
Small.
produce. They're small. They're not after consistency. They do things the old-fashioned way. It's literally the old malted barley, with the rake on the floor and stuff like that. And so from year to year, their tastings and what they put out are somewhat different, but it's sort of become an iconic, like if you like Scotch, you have to have this. They are pricey, and we have the 10 and the 15-year option here. I think the 10-year was, at the time we got it, like 125. I think the 15-year about $180 or whatever.
160.
160. And
But that was
add
quite some time
tax.
ago.
Yes, exactly.
So with
So-
some inflation, these are a little bit more expensive.
Deflation.
Oh yeah.
So what we have in our
No
glasses right
inflation.
now is the 10-year Springbank or whatever.
right.
So,
These are peated,
slightly peated.
slightly peated. So there is going to be some smoke, some peatiness to it, but it's nothing as intense as the Isla, Ardbegs,
Yeah.
Lafroigs, anything like that.
Because this is Campbelltown.
And
Yeah,
it's 92,
Campbelltown.
92 proof.
They're a little more refined.
And it's
there.
not Camel, which I just said. It's Campbell.
It's not camel.
Yeah.
No, we don't say
Town.
that. It's
Camel.
Campbell.
Mm.
Campbell.
Town.
Consonants.
Yes.
The tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips.
And I believe the 10-year was in
Oh,
ex bourbon and ex sherry cask.
It's buttery.
Butter.
Butter.
Butter. Like butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Butter, but I'm getting fruit too. I'm
Sure.
getting
Well,
Definitely
do you guys
butter.
not put butter on your fruit?
I butter my fruit.
I butter my fruit's better.
Butter my
I butter my bags.
Yeah.
I butter my fruit.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a pretty nice nose.
it's
Buttery,
it's
a
Scotch.
little iodine, a
Yeah.
little
Good
sea
point.
salt,
Yeah, this is definitely Scotch. I don't know if you guys knew that.
but fruit.
Yeah,
I'm getting
it's,
honey.
you know, all right.
Mm.
I'm gonna use a word that is not gonna be. This is not what it smells like. Okay, folks.
Oh, get ready.
So why are you using
So much
it?
Because
preface.
it gives you the idea. It smells like blood.
Now,
It's the iron in the blood. It
I would
smells-
expect that from him because he just had a bloody nose.
Yeah.
all I can smell is
No,
good.
the iron in the blood, the kind of irony, coppery note that you can get from blood. You know, as a vampire, I am very familiar with this. Shout out to all you other vampires out there.
The vamps.
But this
Vamp
has
society.
this
Vamp
has
camp.
a metallic. It's not blood. It does not smell like blood, but
Sure.
it's an irony note.
I was gonna say, dude, if my blood smelled like this, there's
Amen, brother.
After this episode, maybe it will.
I'll
Yeah. Speaking of being
sign
a
me up for the
vampire.
vamp colony.
I'm
Let's go.
I actually will give you a nod. There is a little tiny metallic. I don't know if I go so far as blood, but a little metallic in there. But to me, overwhelming butter and then some stewed fruits with honey or whatever is going on.
metallic
on
or
the nose.
maybe like a mineral thing.
Yeah, mineral. So
Yeah.
it could be the water
Mhm.
that they
Yep.
the spring that they get their water from.
Yeah,
Because
the-
everything
the
also
bank of
everything
springs.
is locally
see where it's
sourced.
going.
The water, the barley, this single malt. It's all locally sourced.
They actually have really good interest rates on their loans
Oh yeah.
at the Springbank.
Have
Yeah.
you tasted? Has anybody tasted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight from the store.
Yeah.
So I haven't tasted it, but I just want to say the blood note. It doesn't smell like blood. Okay, fair enough.
He's
I'm
retracting.
Yeah, I'm glad.
But it's there because it's a scent. It made me think
Mm.
of a really coppery metallic note.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Well, because it's got that kind of mineral iodine
Yeah,
in there, but buttery.
I gotta
for
say
sure.
those hot
That's
takes.
quite
You know?
buttery.
Oh, the taste for me is I've halved an apricot and I put it on the grill. That's the
Ooh.
taste for me.
Totally.
It's got the grill marks on it. The
I do that
apricot's
all
got
the
the grill
time.
marks.
What's the proof on this bad boy?
92 proof. Yep, it's 46% ABV.
This is interesting. Now I've had these before, and it was a while ago. This is a nice fresh take on it. This is a weird melding of different flavors that I'm familiar with, especially with Isla. I really like Isla because it gives, like, if you have like a normal one that's not super smoky, but it has smoke on it, it's gonna give you some olive rind notes. This has a lot of olive rind there, but it also has this nice sweet buttery note that you get from other scotches.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. They're doing their own thing, but it's a combination of scotch as a whole.
It's almost like taking the great parts of like Old Pulteney and then the great parts of Bruichladdich
Yeah.
and putting it together.
Quite scrumptious.
The buttered
Scrumptious.
popcorn,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
salted
buttery,
butter popcorn
salt-
from
salty,
Old Pulteney or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm telling
and
you,
then
for
that smoke, like the Port Charlotte, the
Mhm.
Bruichladdich Port Charlotte with some olive, some
Yep.
smoke,
Port Charlotte's a
They're-
good comparison.
but not like crazy smoky
But
like
way
your
sweeter.
Lafroigs and stuff.
Mhm.
for me, this is just again to and
Wow.
this. I have had these too, and it'll be interesting for me this evening. I've enjoyed the 10-year better than the 15-year in previous tastings. This to me is, again, I'm going to say it, an apricot halved, put on the grill, you take it off, and then you put some butter on it, and that's the taste to me. There's a tad of the little bit of briny olive going on there, but that's very background, and I like that too. That's very background to me. This is just screaming
It's got fruit.
grilled apricot.
got fruit.
Apricot for me.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a nice bright fruit. Really good. Also, as a lover of the traditional, can appreciate the floor malting efforts. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, the old sort of fashioned way of doing
can
things.
dig that. Yeah.
As a brewer, do you have a particular style of beer that's your favorite to make?
Wow. Left field. I mean, there's like there's there's different aspects of making different kinds of beer that are enjoyable. To me, there's always something special about the smell of a mash with dark specialty malts.
Dark malts,
right?
yeah.
Right. That's always really, really, really nice. But I don't know. That's a tough question. There are some beers that require like more involved mashing steps. That it's kind of more fun, quote unquote, right? Where you're kind of taking particular care. The mash, I tend to focus on that in response to this question because that is that's what's special about beer. I think there may be other alcohols that get their sugar from barley rather than fruit, which the difference between alcohols is where they get their sugar from.
Right.
But even stuff like this that does get their sugar from grain, it doesn't have, you're not using specialty malts, you're not using hops, you're not, it's technically making a wort, right? But it's not. It's very, very like basic version of
Describe wort.
Wort is the
thing that I have on my toes.
Exactly. That A, and then B, it's the liquid that is basically the so you soak hot water in grain. That process is called the mash. It converts natural starches from the grain into sugars that yeast then eats and makes alcohol. That's the basic idea behind mashing and then fermentation. And so wort is the name for the liquid pre-fermentation, but it has had starch conversion.
So it's not alcoholic.
Correct.
But it's
converted. It's sugary.
The boiled
sugary grain water.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that control that you have in the mash is, I think, what is special about beer. That you don't get in other. You don't get that kind of control in other alcohols. And so any sort of specific pleasure, I think, out of brewing types of beer comes from, particularly good smelling specialty grains that you'd be using, or like fun things you get to do. Cereal mashes, you get to use rice, and you get to use all kinds of oats and cool stuff.
What I'm kind of hearing, from the original question, what's your favorite beer to brew? What you're saying is German beer.
Oh, well,
it's just German lagers are the best beer is what you're saying. So either, I appreciate your input.
Wow.
I said a lot of words and didn't answer the question, so I apologize. But
were you running for office?
I like the smell of dark malts.
So like a Irish stout.
Irish stout, maybe a Schwarzbier.
Yeah.
To satisfy your answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Schwarzbier is so good.
Irish stout is the best style as far as I'm concerned. But yeah.
That's German for black beer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. So how does something in the previous episodes, you're bringing a lot of like malt familiarity, to the tastings of the whiskey. Like now that we've moved on to Scotch, is it like more malt, less malt?
Well, specifically, these are single malt, so it's
all
only barley.
Yeah.
Right. It's just different. I don't know that it would be more or less. But I mean, that is, a lot of that, the sweetness that we get from a lot of this and, other stuff we've tasted.
Yeah.
Malt is a really cool thing. And I love that about all liquors that feature it. It's like malt character. It's just can be so rich and so awesome. It's so much from it.
Which is why 40 is the second best liquor.
What?
40s.
Oh,
malt
40s malt liquor.
Oh my God. Where's the duct tape?
If we're talking about malt, we have literally a malt liquor.
Stay tuned for our next episode of Edward 40 Hands.
Yeah.
And we talked about the sweetness on this already, right? And so that is more of, I think, the featured malt character rather than some of the richness or like more complexity that we were getting.
Well, and we've had a discussion previously about American whiskey. You have the mash bill, so you can do corn, rye, wheat, barley in any different proportions depending on what category you're trying to get into.
Sure.
So there's a lot more of the grain influence.
Yeah.
But then with single malt stuff, it's only barley.
Right.
So now you're eliminating a lot of the variables. So now it's kind of interesting to see how diverse the whiskey can be in Scotland, even though it's only barley.
Totally.
For single malt, for sure, yeah.
So now it's more of like okay, this is a standard. So now what are the barrels? How tall is your still? What's the angle of the runoff?
Right.
Like weird little things become more influential.
The reflux.
Whereas
the
America,
reflux bulb all that type of stuff.
Totally.
And then, where's your rick houses? You're only it's
What
just
temperature
a
are they
regular
setting
dirt
at? Yeah.
floor with a stone rick house,
Yeah.
versus, Kentucky rick houses,
Right.
et cetera, et
Floor
cetera, et
upon
cetera.
floor.
Yeah.
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 Barley's an amazing thing.
Yeah, what a great grain.
Yeah. Truly, truly awesome.
And it
So-
grows well in Scotland. That's hence one
Yeah.
of the reasons, seriously, that's one of the reasons why it's single malt single malt Scotch is barley, because it grows well in Scotland.
So the Springbank 10-year, I mean, it is a fantastic all around kind of hitting all the notes that you want on a Scotch. So it tastes great. It is pricey though. That's the one thing about the Springbank. It's pricey, folks. So
Yeah.
we're obviously this is kind of highbrow. If you can find it, if you can get it,
If
but
you want to shell out for it.
if you want it, I
Yeah.
know Anthony Raining Whiskey. He was just like, I need that Springbank in my life because alcohol content. They know what they're talking about. Well, it's good juice. The 10-year is. It's all around. It's fun. I mean, it's hitting notes that I love of Scotch. I mean, the olive notes, things like that, the sweet, buttery notes. Oh yes, amen, brother. Did you finish your 10-year yet? Oh boy,
Yeah.
who's on the
I did
15-year?
Apologize. I didn't realize we had.
I
made
got
the transition.
15. What do you got?
15.
I didn't.
All right.
I've
apologize.
done nothing.
He's sitting
with
here
it.
talking about beer. He's not
No,
even
no, I've
drinking
done
the
nothing
Scotch.
with it yet.
So
All right.
That's okay. We're good.
Yeah.
what's really fun is trying back to back the 10 and the 15 because it's essentially the same thing, but
More buttery.
the balance of it shifts.
Yeah.
So now you get more barrel, the smoke goes down a little bit, and it's
Only bust it.
Yeah. Just dump the Springbank 15
Yeah.
all over.
I would not like that. But yeah, it's different, yet the same. Same, but different.
Yeah.
Well, the 15, I think another difference besides the age is, I think it's ex Olorosa cask that they.
Well, didn't you say this was bourbon and sherry?
It is,
So
but
what's
So they're not
this?
the same.
yeah, this I'm just gonna say they're more specific on the 15-year, saying ex Olorosa.
I'm sure this is also Oloroso.
Which on the nose, it comes through a lot in the 15. Oloroso barrels.
More barrel influence,
Yes.
especially if they're using sherry barrels. It's going to be a little more fruit, a little more.
This is something I'm a
Sweet,
little bit more
less
familiar
peat.
with. This is very Glendronach kind of palate on the nose.
This is
Sherry
Glendronach with a little
influence.
peat.
Yeah.
But I'm getting more of the olive on the nose for the 15-year than I did on the
Ugh.
10-year.
And it's even more buttery.
Much more burn on the nose too.
Same proof though.
It is the same proof,
Yeah.
interestingly
A little
enough.
more funky. I mean, it's probably a lot of just the barrel sense. The
Yeah.
wood coming
Well, and I
through.
think because the 10 has more peat up front on the nose, so then in the 15 it's a little subdued. So
This
then you
is-
get more of the proof through the nose.
Yeah, way less peat on the nose on this one.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
And I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
I'm getting a little more on the. I haven't tasted yet, but I'm getting barrel funk on the nose a little bit in a good way. A little more olive
Whoa.
going on.
Okay. Whoa. Whoa.
Straight up creamy.
It's very creamy.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
There's a flavor though that I could not pin down, but it was giving me flashes of something. It's not toothpastey. It's the wrong. I'm using all the wrong words.
Yeah. You're,
Blood. I have toothpaste. It's man. This is all good things. I'm just using bad things to describe it.
yeah.
Welcome back to alcohol
you're
content,
messing
where
up.
we
That's
don't
what
know
you're
how to
doing.
use words. This is. It's not. It's closer to spearmint. It's not peppermint. Closer to spearmint. But
Yeah,
man,
I get that.
it's like a wave. It's like a wave of spearmint that just kind of goes throughout your tongue. But man, it's like a peppermint patty, or what are those polar bear things?
Polar bear
Klondike.
things?
Klondike.
A Klondike bar?
Yeah, there's a little bit of chocolate in
Listen, what would you do
For a
for a
Klondike.
Klondike bar?
there. Well, I'd say I'd rather have Springbank.
Yeah.
This is good. I like it because it's the 15-year. It's like, well, here's some. I'm 15 years.
Some zhuzh.
Check it out.
Some
To me,
zhuzh.
this is
Yeah, it's some zhuzh.
zhuzh. It's got some
I like
zhuzh.
that. It's zhuzh.
We're gonna start using
Yeah,
that
it's
from now
zhuzh.
on. Zhuzh. This has got a lot of zhuzh.
This has zhuzh compared to the 10-year.
Yeah. To me, this is classy. This is refined. It's got a little smoke, the sweetness, the butteriness, the mouthfeel, that spearmint that you're talking about. Like it's got all of these things, but it's not necessarily punching you in the face with them. It's just kind of like you got to take a look around for it, and then you find all of it. It's integrated. So good.
These are two different,
very different.
They're very different, and I'm just gonna sort of counter you. For my palate tonight, I go 10-year, and that the 2 or 3 or 4 times I've had it before, I said 10-year.
The smoke is more prominent.
To me, I don't know. I get that apricot on the grill on the 10-year. This I'm getting, and I like the 15. Don't get me wrong, but I'm getting a lot more olive. I'm getting more wood. It's darker for sure.
I agree with you. The 15's harsher.
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
I disagree.
Yeah. I'm thinking like,
is this team 15?
Yeah.
Team 10, team 15?
I find that the 15-year is an experience. The 10-year is much more approachable. But man, when having one after the other, it's like the 15-year, I feel refreshed. This is very like, poof. Like I'm snowboarding, kind of like it's a commercial for snow. It's hard to describe.
You're
fresh.
going after a Chew 5 gum.
Yeah,
thing.
this is a Chew 5 gum.
This is what it's like to chew 5.
Exactly.
Gum. Yeah.
This is
100%. The green one.
Exactly. Right. This is spearmint and just mint and freshness, like an actual mint leaf. The freshness of it's hard to describe. This is fun. I feel like I'm in Antarctica or something, you know?
That's funny. I was going to say the 15 is like physically relaxing. Like it's comforting. I'll sit there in it and just be in it and love it.
Alcohol does tend to relax me.
Amen, brother.
But the 10, I feel like the 10 is more of an experience that's kind of wild, where it's like, oh, here's some smoke, here's some fruit, and it like throws some things at you. Whereas the 15, it's like, no, I'm keeping all of it right here. You come to me and experience it if you want.
And it just has such a...
It does have a long finish for sure.
Oh my gosh.
While we relish in the finish, I'd like to make a slightly can we talk about the label here for a second?
The aesthetics?
Now look, I get that they're what they're doing, right? They're like, we're the small guy. You know, we're doing our own thing.
The Campbelltown.
We're gonna be old school about it. We're gonna spend less money on your schmancy marketing and your big fancy labels. I certainly feel it.
They are not Ardbeg, we'll say that.
These I hate these labels.
That's
They're
fair.
so cheap looking. And that's fine. Like, who cares? But I couldn't not bring it up because I just can't. I can't look at. Every time I look at these, I'm just like, boy,
it is
these
interesting.
Are lame.
It's like they don't care about getting new customers.
Right.
They're just like, if you know, you know. Like
For sure.
If you know the liquid,
Right.
you're gonna get it anyway.
Sure.
If you don't, then we don't need you.
Yeah, they look so cheap, and great for them if they are, because don't spend money. But I don't know, man. They
are small batch, so like,
yeah,
I can imagine they're still selling all of their stuff. I don't think their stuff just sits around.
I mean, they could be really small. Like, I understand they might be a really small. I don't know anything other than what you guys have told me today. But maybe no one knows how to do that shit. No one knows how to make a fancy label. No one, they're not going to pay someone to do it because they're super small batch and just a small company. Like, we have we have a German whiskey up here that's just like paintings, and it's a super simple label, but obviously it's a small company, and like they're at least producing liquid
right
in here. The juice is freaking fantastic.
Totally.
Yeah. But maybe get a designer.
There's something about this orange and this green that's something about it is like extra flat.
Yes.
The color selection is odd.
Yeah. Stick with the primary colors. But yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Secondary colors. I'm gonna sort of counter that in the sense that I like their font,
Mm.
the Springbank font.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of going for the
Makes you
Nordic
think of a
Viking,
castle.
Nordic Viking stuff.
Yeah. It's very Scottish.
But yeah, it's the orange harkens to
Well, and
old
when
granddad.
you
or
compare
whatever.
it,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
when you compare it to like an Ardbeg or a Highland Park and their marketing campaigns, it's like, oh my
Yeah.
god,
No way.
But they're
Like,
going.
no way, no
It's
how.
boring.
And they're
Yeah.
going. I don't care.
Yeah.
Taste what's
That's
inside.
what I'm saying.
No,
They're
way.
like, not my market, not my problem.
Yeah,
Not
like,
my
if
problem.
you know, you know.
no
Whatever.
way. WH.
Yeah.
Why?
Way. No way.
way.
No soy boys here. Okay. They're just strictly juice, liquid. All right, folks.
Well, my hot take is I love them both, but I'm still going with the 10 for my palate,
15 for me.
Everyone has the right to be wrong.
including Austin.
Yeah, 10 all the way.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
we got 10 team, we got 15 team. Go ahead. I mean, this is cash burning in your pocket kind of scotch, okay? Unique.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's everything. It's like I would argue it's the culmination of scotch. It's all of the scotches. It's really cool. It's a combination of many different styles of Speyside, of Isla Scotch, just this buttery
Yeah.
richness with some olivey. It's unique, and I think they really do cut their own cloth here.
Agreed.
For sure.
So,
They cut my cloth.
amen, brother. Like the episode because this was great content, and because this was a fan recommend or fan requested.
Yeah. Let us know, Anthony.
Yeah, raining whiskey. What did you think of this? Do you agree? Have you ever tasted these? Let us know, and also comment and tell us what you want us to review because we probably have it, and if we don't, we can probably get it. So let us know, unless it's some super expensive whiskey because we're probably not going to buy that. Okay, unless you send us a little taster bottle, and we'll do it live on air. Okay, folks, subscribe because you want to see more content, and we appreciate y'all.
Cheers.
Bing, bang, boom.